There is a plan for you, crafted in rooms you've never entered. Even now, as you listen, something is being written with your name on it, quietly, intentionally, far from the noise of your daily struggle. You may not see the signatures or hear the conversations, but the ink is fresh, and the seal is unbroken. In a world that shouts for your attention, where every headline and every message seems to demand a piece of your peace, there is a whisper that cuts through the chaos. It is not the voice of fear or confusion, but the steady assurance of a wealthy hand moving on your behalf. You have felt the ache of waiting, the sting of being overlooked, the silence that follows a prayer you thought had gone unanswered. You have wondered if your name has been forgotten, if your story has been set aside. But what if I told you that the silence is not neglect, but preparation? What if the quiet is not emptiness, but the sound of something sacred being arranged for you? There is a difference between the noise of the world and the stillness of God's intention. The world clamors for quick answers, but heaven moves with purpose, never rushed, never late. Imagine a table set in a room you've never seen, a letter addressed to you waiting in a drawer you didn't know existed. The wealthy man in this story is not just a figure of power or status, he is a symbol of divine provision, a reminder that what is being prepared for you is greater than what you have lost. You may feel surrounded by uncertainty, but above the confusion, there is a plan unfolding, one detail at a time. The contrast is sharp, the world's noise versus the quiet certainty of God's orchestration. You are not forgotten in the shuffle. You are not lost in the crowd. Stay with me, because in the next moments, you will see how the unseen hand is moving, how the doors you thought were closed are actually being guarded for your arrival. There is a reason for the delay, a purpose in the pause. The wealthy man's plan is not just about restoring what was taken, but about elevating you to a place you never imagined. The favor that is coming is not random, it is intentional, personal, and perfectly timed. You are closer to the breakthrough than you realize. Lean in for this part, the story is about to shift. The hidden favor, the quiet arrangements, the whispered promises, they are all leading to a moment of unveiling. You may not have seen the invitation yet, but it is already on its way. The plan is real, the promise is alive, and your name is written in places you have not yet walked. The wealthy man's whisper is not just a rumor, it is a declaration. Something is being set in motion for you, and soon, what was hidden will be revealed. This is for you, the one who has watched others be chosen while you sat in the quiet, wondering if your turn would ever come. You have felt the weight of waiting, the ache that settles in your chest when another door closes, when another promise seems to slip through your fingers. You have prayed in the dark, whispered your hopes into the silence, and wondered if anyone was listening. You have seen others celebrated while you remained in the background, your faith tested by delay and your heart stretched by disappointment. You have asked, "How much longer, Lord?" and sometimes the only answer you received was the echo of your own longing. You know what it is to feel invisible, to watch as opportunities pass you by, to wonder if you are somehow missing the sign or the moment. You have felt the sting of betrayal, the sharp edge of being misunderstood or misrepresented. Maybe someone you trusted turned away, or a promise made to you was quietly broken. The world sees only the surface, your calm face, your steady hands, but beneath it all, there is a story of endurance, of hope that refuses to die even when the evidence is thin. You have learned to smile through the ache, to keep moving forward when your heart wants to pause and grieve. But let me tell you, beloved, you are not forgotten. The waiting is not wasted. Every tear, every silent prayer, every moment you chose to believe when it would have been easier to give up, these are not lost in the void. There is a preparation happening in the unseen, a weaving together of details that you cannot yet perceive. The visible lack, the empty seat at the table, the unopened letter, these are not signs of neglect, but of timing. The wealthy man's plan is not hurried by the world's clock. Heaven's calendar is different, and your name is written in ink that cannot be erased. You may feel like you are standing outside, looking in through a window at a feast prepared for others. But what you cannot see is the place being set for you, the chair with your name on it, the conversation happening behind closed doors about your future. The contrast is real. What you see is lack, but what is being prepared is abundance. What you feel is delay, but what is coming is right on time. The world measures worth by speed and visibility, but God measures by faithfulness and trust. You are closer to the table than you think. There are moments when the ache of waiting feels unbearable, when the silence seems to mock your hope. But even in those moments, something is shifting. The ground beneath you is not as still as it seems. There are plans being made, alliances being formed, and doors being unlocked in your favor. The wealthy man's whisper is not just for the privileged or the powerful, it is for the overlooked, the weary, the ones who have held on when others let go. It is for you, the one who has chosen to believe that there is more to your story than what you can see. Stay with me, because the story is not finished. The waiting is not the end. The ache you feel is the sign of something growing, something about to break through. You are not standing in the hallway forever. The invitation is coming, and when it arrives, you will understand why the wait was necessary. You are being prepared for a table you never thought you'd reach, for a blessing that will make sense of every delay. You are closer than you realize, and the next chapter is already being written. The wealthy man's plan is unfolding, and your name is at the center of it. There is a line drawn around your life, a sacred boundary that is not always visible to the eye but is fiercely guarded by the one who calls you his own. You may not see it, but it is there, a line that marks where your dignity, your hope, and your worth are protected. This is not just about what you have or what you do, it is about who you are. The world may try to define you by your failures, your delays, or your disappointments, but heaven sees you through a different lens. You are not just another face in the crowd. You are chosen, set apart, and watched over with a love that refuses to let you be diminished by the actions or opinions of others. What's at stake is more than a missed opportunity or a delayed answer. It is your sense of value, your belief that you matter, your hope that your story is not over. Every time you are overlooked, every time a promise is broken or a trust is betrayed, there is a risk that you will begin to shrink inside, to believe the lie that you are less than, that you are invisible, that you are not worth fighting for. But the sacred boundary says otherwise. It says that you are worth protecting, that your heart is precious, that your dreams are not disposable. The wealthy man's plan is not just about giving you things, it is about restoring what was taken, about defending the territory of your soul. There are those who do not respect boundaries. They see your kindness as weakness, your patience as permission. They may try to take what is not theirs, to cross lines that were never meant to be crossed. Sometimes it is subtle, a word spoken behind your back, a promise quietly withdrawn, a door closed without explanation. Other times it is bold, a betrayal, a theft, a public shaming. The violation is real, and it leaves a mark. But the boundary remains. It is not erased by the actions of others. It is reinforced by every moment you choose to stand, to believe, to hold on to your worth even when others try to diminish it. Protection is not always loud. Sometimes it is the quiet closing of a door that was never meant for you. Sometimes it is the delay that keeps you from harm, the silence that shields you from words that would have wounded you. The contrast is sharp. Violation seeks to take, to diminish, to erase. Protection seeks to guard, to restore, to elevate. You may not always recognize the form it takes, but you will know it by the peace that follows, by the sense of being held even when you feel alone. The wealthy man's plan is not just about what you will receive, but about what you will not lose, your dignity, your hope, your sense of being seen and valued. There is a cost to crossing the sacred boundary. For those who violate it, there is a reckoning. Justice may not come in the way or at the speed you expect, but it is certain. The one who drew the line around your life is not indifferent to your pain. Every tear, every slight, every injustice is noticed. The promise is not that you will never be hurt, but that you will never be abandoned. The boundary is a promise, this far, no further. It is a declaration that your story will not be defined by what others have done to you, but by what God is doing for you. Stay with me, because the story is about to reveal how the boundary is being enforced, how the plan is moving in your favor even when it seems like nothing is happening. The cost of violation is real, but so is the promise of restoration. You are not unprotected. You are not at the mercy of those who do not see your worth. The wealthy man's plan is unfolding, and the next chapter will show you the hidden mechanics at work, the unseen hand that is moving to defend, restore, and elevate you. The sacred boundary is not just a line, it is a shield, a promise, and a sign that you are worth more than you know. Sometimes the most important things happen where no one is watching. You may look at your life and see only the surface, days that seem to repeat, prayers that seem to echo back in silence, opportunities that slip by without explanation. But beneath the surface, there is movement. There are hands arranging details, shifting circumstances, and orchestrating moments that you cannot yet see. The wealthy man's plan is not a rumor or a wish, it is a living strategy, unfolding in ways both spiritual and practical, both mysterious and real. You might wonder why certain doors have stayed closed, why a message you were waiting for never arrived, or why a meeting was canceled at the last minute. It can feel like rejection, like you are being overlooked or forgotten. But what if those delays are not denials? What if the silence is not absence, but protection? There is a reason for every delay, a purpose behind every pause. Sometimes, what looks like a missed opportunity is actually a shield, keeping you from harm you never saw coming. Sometimes, the no you received was really a not yet, a gentle hand holding you back until the time is right. Think about the quiet interventions that have shaped your path. The friend who called just when you needed encouragement, the job you didn't get that led you to something better, the relationship that ended before it could break your spirit. These are not accidents. They are the fingerprints of the unseen hand, guiding you through the maze of life with wisdom and care. The world sees only the visible, the job offer, the relationship status, the bank balance. But heaven sees the heart, the hidden dangers, the future you cannot yet imagine. The contrast is clear. what you see is only a fraction of what is really happening. There are coincidences that aren't coincidences at all. The email that arrived at just the right moment, the stranger who spoke a word that confirmed what you were already sensing, the sudden urge to pause before making a decision. These are the subtle signals of a plan in motion. You may not recognize them at first, but looking back, you will see the pattern. The wealthy man's plan is not always loud or obvious. It moves quietly, like a letter slipped under a door, like a whisper in the night. The unseen hand is always at work, even when you feel alone. You may feel frustrated by the pace, by the lack of visible progress. But remember, seeds grow in the dark before they break through the soil. The most important work is often done in secret, away from the spotlight. The delays you experience are not wasted time, they are preparation. The unseen hand is arranging things for your good, setting the stage for a reveal that will make sense of every unanswered question. There is a reason for every delay, and soon, you will see why the wait was necessary. Stay with me, because the next part of the story will show you the opposition that tries to interfere with the plan, and how even their efforts are being woven into your good. The unseen hand is not just moving for you, it is moving ahead of you, clearing the path, and making a way where there seemed to be none. The plan is unfolding, and you are right where you need to be, even if you cannot see it yet. Not everyone who smiles in your direction is cheering for your victory. There are those who watch from the shadows, their intentions hidden behind polite words and practiced gestures. You may sense it, a subtle shift in the room when you speak, a conversation that quiets as you enter, a message left on read with no reply. These are the silent watchers, the ones who measure your steps and weigh your words, not out of love, but out of envy or fear. Their presence is felt more than seen, their motives whispered rather than declared. You have given generously, opened your heart, and shared your dreams, believing that those around you would celebrate your journey. But sometimes, open generosity is met with hidden agendas. There are those who would rather see you stay small, who are unsettled by your hope, who quietly compete for what you have, even if it means undermining your progress. Sabotage does not always come as a loud accusation. Sometimes it is a quiet withdrawal of support, a seed of doubt planted in a moment of vulnerability, a door that closes just as you reach for it. The contrast is sharp, your openness versus their secrecy, your trust versus their calculation. It can be painful to realize that not everyone at your table is for you. The ache of betrayal, the confusion of mixed signals, the disappointment of discovering that someone you trusted was working against you, these wounds run deep. You may question your own judgment, wonder if you should have seen the signs, or blame yourself for being too open. But hear this, your kindness is not a flaw, and your willingness to believe the best in others is not a weakness. The opposition you face is not a reflection of your worth, but a sign of the value you carry. There are forces that move in the shadows, hoping to delay your progress or distract you from your purpose. They may try to twist your words, to cast doubt on your motives, to make you question your place at the table. But someone greater is watching. The wealthy man's plan is not threatened by hidden agendas. Every shadow move is seen, every whispered scheme is known. The one who set the boundary around your life is not surprised by the opposition. In fact, even their efforts are being woven into the story, turned for your good in ways you cannot yet see. Stay with me, because the next part will reveal the signs and signals that expose what is hidden and confirm that you are not alone. Not everyone at your table is for you, but you are never without an advocate. The plan is still unfolding, and the light is about to shine on every shadow. Sometimes, the evidence of a plan in motion is not loud or obvious. It comes quietly, like a letter slipped under your door when you least expect it. Maybe you found yourself staring at a gray envelope with your name written in careful script, the ink still fresh, the paper cool to the touch. You hesitate before opening it, sensing that what's inside could change everything. Or perhaps you've noticed a sudden closed door, a job that seemed perfect, a friendship that faded without warning, an opportunity that vanished just as you reached for it. In the moment, it feels like rejection, like confusion pressing in from all sides. But what if these are not endings, but signals? What if the closed door is a form of protection, a redirection towards something better? There are moments when your phone lights up with a message from an unknown number. The timestamp reads 2:17 a.m., a time when most of the world is asleep. You read the words, simple and unexpected, "Don't give up." You wonder who sent it, but the number disappears, leaving only the message behind. Or maybe you've seen a text appear, only to be deleted before you can respond, 3 dots blinking, then nothing. It's as if someone wanted to reach out but couldn't find the courage, or as if heaven itself was reminding you that you are not alone, even in the silence. You might walk into a room and feel the atmosphere shift. The conversation changes, the air feels heavier or lighter, and you sense that something unseen is at work. These are not just feelings, they are signals. The world calls them coincidences, but you know better. You have learned to pay attention to the small things, the way a song plays at just the right moment, the way a stranger's words echo a prayer you whispered in secret, the way a door that was once locked suddenly swings open without explanation. These are the fingerprints of the divine, the evidence that you are being guided, watched over, and prepared for something greater. Confusion tries to cloud your vision, to make you doubt what you sense in your spirit. It whispers that you are imagining things, that the signs are just random, that you are alone in your waiting. But clarity comes in the quiet moments, when you remember the times God has spoken before, when you recall the prayers that were answered in ways you never expected. The contrast is real: confusion versus clarity, noise versus stillness, doubt versus faith. The signs are there, if you are willing to watch for them. You may have noticed patterns, doors that close just as you are about to walk through, relationships that end before they can harm you, opportunities that seem to slip away only to be replaced by something better. You may have found yourself in the right place at the right time, meeting someone who opens a new path, hearing a word that confirms what you have been sensing in your heart. These are not accidents. They are signals, evidence that the wealthy man's plan is unfolding, even when you cannot see the whole picture. Sometimes, the signs are subtle: a quiet nudge to pause before making a decision, a sudden peace that settles over you in the middle of chaos, a dream that lingers in your mind long after you wake. Other times, they are bold: a door that slams shut, a relationship that ends abruptly, a message that arrives just when you need it most. The divine signals are not always what you expect, but they are always timely. They are reminders that you are not forgotten, that you are being led, that every detail of your life is known and cared for. Watch for the sign. It may come in the form of a conversation that feels different, a letter that arrives out of the blue, a message that appears at just the right moment. It may be a shift in the atmosphere, a sense of peace that cannot be explained, a confirmation that comes when you least expect it. The evidence is there, woven into the fabric of your days, waiting to be noticed. The wealthy man's plan is not hidden from you. It is being revealed, one sign at a time. Stay with me, because the next part of the story will show you how these signs lead to a turning point, a moment when what was hidden becomes clear, and the plan that has been unfolding in secret is finally unveiled. The confusion will give way to clarity, and you will see that every signal, every piece of evidence, was leading you to this moment. Watch for the sign, because the unveiling is closer than you think. There comes a moment when the waiting breaks, when the silence is pierced by a voice calling your name. You have spent nights wondering if your prayers were lost in the void, if your hope was just a fragile dream. But now, the air shifts. The delay that once felt endless begins to make sense, and you realize that every quiet moment was a seed planted for this very hour. The wealthy man's plan, once hidden in shadows and whispers, is about to be revealed in the light. What was once a secret is now an announcement. What was once a delay is now a delivery. You may remember the ache of unanswered questions, the tension of not knowing when or how things would change. But now, the pieces begin to fit together. The closed doors, the missed calls, the quiet letters, they were not signs of rejection, but of orchestration. The silence was not emptiness, but a canvas being prepared for a masterpiece. The world may have overlooked you, but heaven never did. The reversal is here, and it is unmistakable. Suddenly, the tables turn. The very rooms where your name was never mentioned are now echoing with conversations about your future. The people who once doubted you are now witnesses to your elevation. This is the moment when the plan is made public. The wealthy man steps forward, and what was once reserved in secret is now released in the open. You hear your name spoken in new rooms, by voices you never expected to advocate for you. The opportunities that seemed lost are now returning, multiplied and refined. The relationships that ended in confusion are replaced by connections that bring clarity and peace. The contrast is sharp. The long delay versus the sudden delivery, the years of silence versus the sound of your name being called out with honor. You may feel a rush of emotions, relief, gratitude, even disbelief. It is natural to wonder if this is real, if the breakthrough is truly yours. But look around. The evidence is undeniable. The doors that once refused to open now swing wide. The invitations you never received are now arriving, one after another. The people who once overlooked you are now seeking your wisdom, your presence, your voice. The waiting was not a punishment, it was preparation. Every moment in the shadows was building your strength, your character, your readiness for this unveiling. The wealthy man's plan was never about quick fixes or shortcuts. It was about timing, about bringing you to the right place at the right moment. The delay was not a denial, it was a divine setup. The silence was not abandonment, it was a sacred pause, a space for you to grow and heal. Now, as the plan is revealed, you see that nothing was wasted. Every tear, every prayer, every act of faith was woven into this moment of reversal. You may notice how the atmosphere changes. Where there was once tension, there is now peace. Where there was confusion, there is now clarity. The people around you sense it too. Some are surprised, others are humbled, but all must acknowledge that something greater is at work. Your story is no longer hidden. Your journey is no longer overlooked. The announcement is clear. You are chosen, you are seen, you are elevated. Stay with me, because this unveiling is not the end, it is the beginning of a new chapter. Your name is being spoken in new rooms, your influence is expanding, and your story is inspiring others who are still waiting in the shadows. The wealthy man's plan is not just for you, but through you. Your breakthrough becomes a testimony, a sign that waiting is not in vain, that silence is not the end, and that every delay can become a delivery in the hands of God. Lean in for this part. The unveiling is not just about what you receive, but about who you become. The reversal is not just a change in circumstance, but a transformation of identity. You are no longer the one who waits outside the door. You are the one who is welcomed in, honored, and celebrated. The plan is public now, and your story is a beacon for others. The silence has given way to a song, and your name is being spoken in places you never dreamed you would enter. The next step is to align yourself with this new reality, to walk in the confidence of what has been revealed, and to prepare for the opportunities that are now before you. The unveiling is here, and the best is yet to come. Now that the plan is being revealed, your next steps matter more than ever. This is the moment to move with intention, to align your actions with the favor that is unfolding. The doors are opening, but how you walk through them will shape the next chapter of your story. The wealthy man's plan is not just about what is given to you, but about how you steward what is placed in your hands. This is your invitation to participate, to respond with wisdom, and to protect what is being restored. First, set clear boundaries. Not everyone who witnessed your breakthrough will celebrate it. Some may try to draw close for the wrong reasons, hoping to benefit from your blessing without honoring your journey. It is not unkind to guard your heart, it is wise. Take time to discern who belongs in your inner circle. Notice who brings peace and who stirs confusion. If a relationship drains your spirit or clouds your clarity, it is not selfish to step back. Boundaries are not walls to keep love out, but gates to let wisdom in. You are not required to explain your every decision. Trust the quiet knowing within you. Second, anchor yourself in prayer. The same God who orchestrated your unveiling is faithful to guide your next steps. Bring your questions, your gratitude, your concerns to Him. Pray for discernment, for courage, for the ability to recognize the difference between opportunity and distraction. Prayer is not just a ritual, it is a conversation, a lifeline that keeps you connected to the source of your strength. When you feel overwhelmed, pause and pray. When you are unsure, ask for guidance. The wealthy man's plan is not a one-time event, it is a journey, and prayer is your compass. Third, journal your journey. Write down the signs you notice, the prayers you pray, the answers you receive. Journaling is more than keeping a record, it is a way to see the patterns, to remember the faithfulness that brought you this far. When doubt tries to creep in, your own words will remind you of how far you've come. Record the dates, the details, the moments that felt like turning points. Sometimes, the smallest detail, a timestamp, a phrase, a dream, will become the key to understanding the bigger picture. Your story is worth remembering. Fourth, seek wise counsel. You do not have to navigate this new season alone. There are people who have walked similar paths, who can offer perspective, encouragement, and accountability. Choose your advisors carefully. Look for those who listen more than they speak, who pray before they advise, who celebrate your growth without competing with your progress. Wise counsel is a gift, a safeguard against impulsive decisions and unnecessary detours. If your situation involves legal, financial, or relational complexities, do not hesitate to seek professional guidance. This is spiritual encouragement, not legal advice. Consider trusted counsel if your situation requires it. Fifth, stay calm and steady. The unveiling can bring excitement, but it can also attract attention and pressure. Do not rush to fill every new space or answer every new request. Let your yes be thoughtful and your no be gentle. Remember, you are not responsible for managing others' expectations, only for honoring the path set before you. When anxiety rises, return to the practices that ground you: prayer, reflection, rest. The wealthy man's plan is not threatened by your pace. Move with peace, not panic. As you align with the plan, remember that your worth is not measured by your productivity or your popularity. You are valuable because you are chosen, because you are loved, because you are part of a story bigger than yourself. The practical steps you take now are not just about protecting what you have gained, but about preparing for what is still to come. Each boundary, each prayer, each wise decision is a seed for your future. Stay with me, because the next part of your journey is about to unfold. The steps you take today will echo into tomorrow. The wealthy man's plan is still moving, still opening doors, still writing your name in new places. Walk forward with confidence, knowing you are guided, protected, and never alone. You are not defined by the pain of your past, nor by the seasons of waiting that once felt endless. You are chosen, not by accident or by the opinions of others, but by a love that saw your worth before anyone else did. The wealthy man's plan was never just about restoring what was lost. It was about revealing who you truly are. You are protected, not by chance, but by a boundary drawn by the hand of God Himself, a shield that has kept you through storms, betrayals, and silent nights. Every tear you cried, every hope you dared to hold, has been seen and treasured. Now, as the dust settles and the unveiling is complete, you find yourself at a new table. This is not the table of your old fears or the place where your voice was ignored. This is a seat prepared for you, a place of honor and belonging. The people who once doubted you now see the evidence of your journey. The voices that once whispered against you are silenced by the clarity of your vindication. The contrast is unmistakable. The ache of past pain is replaced by the promise of a future filled with peace. You are not merely surviving, you are stepping into a chapter marked by restoration. The wounds that once defined you are now the places where light shines through. The disappointments that threatened to break you have become the foundation for your strength. You are not the same person who began this journey. You are wiser, stronger, and more compassionate. The wealthy man's plan has not only restored what was taken but has multiplied your hope and expanded your vision. Look ahead. The next chapter is not written in fear or scarcity, but in abundance and assurance. You are invited to dream again, to trust again, to believe that the best is yet to come. The peace you feel is not fragile. It is rooted in the certainty that you are seen, known, and loved. Your story is a testimony, a beacon for others who are still waiting for their own unveiling. You carry the promise of restoration, not just for yourself, but for those who will follow your example. Stay with me, because your journey is not over. The table is set, the invitation is open, and your future is bright with possibility. The wealthy man's plan is still unfolding, and you are right where you belong. If this message has spoken to your heart, take a moment to say, "I receive," or "Amen," right where you are. Your agreement is a step of faith, a way of saying yes to the plan unfolding in your life. If you have a testimony of how God has moved for you, share it in the comments. Your story could be the encouragement someone else needs today. Save this message, share it with a friend, and let it be a reminder that you are not alone on this journey. There's more to this plan. Stay close for the next reveal, because the story is still being written, and your breakthrough may be closer than you think.